Okay, so this is my brand new line of Stampin' Foil. This is a line I designed for Thermoweb, and it consists of 3 main products: stamps, foil mates, and then the coordinating dies that will cut both the stamped images and the foil images. And then the designer can choose whatever color foil or whatever style foil they want to use from the Deco Foil line or my Fancy Foil line. So let me show you how this works. It starts with a stamp set, and I'm going to be using this stamp set today. This is the stamp set called Where Flowers Bloom. And I'm going to use the large flower, and I'm going to use one of the solid leaves. And then I'm going to use one of the foil mates. Now these foil mates, these are the coordinating ones. They come in a 10-pack, and they look like this when you open it up. So there's 10 sheets in here, which is enough to do 60 flowers, 40 leaves, 120 butterflies, and they retail for $7.50, which is nothing.
Wow,
right?
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a good deal. And then, you know, aside from that, you can stamp with all of these stamps. So on the days where you don't feel like foiling, you can still make beautiful cards like this was done with no stamping at all. So, I'm sorry, with no foiling at all.
Right.
All right, so now I'm going to stamp this image. So I have the solid flower stamp on my block, and I'm going to start with a little bubblegum pink ink. Okay, and then I'm going to use some of the passionate pink ink, and I'm going to do a little inking technique. I have a dry paintbrush here. Even though it's in a water brush, there's no water in there. I'm just going to grab some of that color, and I'm going to bounce that color onto this stamp. And this is just a fun technique that adds a lot of texture. It creates a little bit of white space on the image, and it's just fun. It's fun to do something a little bit different. All right, now I'm going to stamp that on this bigger image. And they're pretty easy to line up, but if you're not perfect with it, which I'm not always perfect with it, that one was pretty good. But if you're not perfect with it, you can always use a stamp positioning tool, and that works great too.
Oh, show everybody that.
What this? Oh, sure, yeah. This is something I have coming out in February, the end of February. This is called a tidy towel. So it's a lint-free towel, and it's just wet with water. It's super
black.
silky, and it's black, so it doesn't show any
stains.
ink or stains. A little bit, but not too bad. And then you just rinse it out with water again when you're done.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. So now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to stamp the solid image of the leaves. And I'm going to do some jelly bean green ink for this one. Let's reposition that a little bit here.
I just like the name of that one.
I know, me too.
Jelly bean green.
It's my favorite simply because of the name.
Because of the name, it's so fun, and it's a bright green.
Yes.
It's very, very fun. Okay, I'm going to stamp that on there as well. Now again, I got lucky. I mean, a lot of times I'll use my Misty stamping tool with this, but I got lucky and I stamped them right on. It is kind of easy to stamp inside because the lines are so bold. They're very forgiving, but you want those lines to be really bold because you want a lot of sparkle after you add the foil, and it's going to foil the lines. So my next step is going to be to cut these out using my Big Shot. And these dies work with any die cutting machine. It could be the Big Shot, it could be the new Gemini Junior, Spellbinders, any of the die cutting machines. And if you do have a scan and cut and you prefer to use that, the lines are nice and bold and dark and easy for the scan and cut eye to see, the scanner. Okay. So I'm going to pop these out, and you can see how nicely they cut. So now I have a piece of parchment paper, and inside the parchment I just have a thin sheet of cardstock, and that's going to be used kind of like a shim. And I'm going to put the flower in and the leaf in. Here's some of the new glittering green. This was from our holiday release, this glittering green foil. So that's going to go on top of the leaf. And then I have to use some of the brand new twinkling pink.
So pretty.
We have 6 glitter foils. And I had to come up with a name for each of them, and I'm telling you, synonym.com was my best friend. I put sparkling in, and we have dazzling orange, brilliant blue, twinkling pink, sparkling silver, radiant red, and glittering green.
Nice.
Yay!
Okay, so now I'm going to just close that up, and I'm going to run that through the laminator. And what the laminator does is it does 2 things. It adds heat and it adds pressure. And you need both things for this type of foiling. So as it goes through, it gets hot. And that resin that these are printed with kind of melts, gets soft, it gets a little bit gooey and sticky. And then the pressure from the laminator presses the foil down into that resin. Then it comes out the other side and it cools, and that foil is bonded permanently with the paper. So I have to put my glasses on because I want to see too. It's so fun. Okay, so anybody that's filming, come in close so you can see the wow. Okay, so here is what the leaves look like.
Oh, wow.
Pretty? That's okay.
Sorry about
Ready?
that. You've just changed my whole world.
And then here is the flower.
So cool.
Got all that pretty twinkling pink.
Wow. It's beautiful.
And then you have, let me grab this here, and I want to show you one more thing while you guys are close by. So then you have this beautiful little image that's ready for a card. But you can also take these images and you can take a little spray adhesive on some white cardstock, let that dry, and then the die will fit on that as well. So you can cut that out,
Oh,
same with the
wow.
flower, and you can have the negative image, and you can use those for other cards. So there's like no waste. Yeah. So these are perfect for card projects, scrapbook pages. You don't have to worry about glitter getting on your scrapbooks and maybe scratching up your cards. You've got all the glitter, but it's not messy. You can use it for home decor products that you make, art journals. You can turn them into stickers. So the fun never really ends with the sparkle and shine of Stampin' Foil.